Jai Radha Madhav.
Yeah, if you want to do, you can do it.
Okay.
Okay, once again.
Mhm. Ready?
Yeah, okay, live on Facebook, connected.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari
Jaya
Gopi Janvallabha Girivardhari.
Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana
Yashodandana Brajana Ranjana.
Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana
Yashodanandana Brajana Ranjana.
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Yamuna Tira Manachari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine.
Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishnamaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pachakya Deshatarine.
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada.
I Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol.
Jai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol.
Jai Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari
Hari
Bol.
Bol.
All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
All glories to
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Gauranga.
Hare Krishna.
Glories to all the devotees. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Oh.
Okay.
Okay, so this time we have with us His Grace Aritra Prabhu, wonderful devotee, and he has been practicing Krishna consciousness since a long time, since 2008. He has graduated from the prestigious University of Florida in computer engineering, and he is a senior consultant at Deloitte Consulting US. He has been residing in US since a long time now, and has been a very sincere seeker of Krishna consciousness, and he has been a great help to the ISKCON Orlando community of devotees also, where he is closely associated with the temple president of ISKCON Orlando, and is helping a lot. And Aritra Prabhu's, there are many wonderful quality of Aritra Prabhu's, and one of the most important quality which I feel is that since I am connected to him since a long time, it's that Aritra Prabhu is someone who is willing to take a lot of rectification, and he's always trying to get some feedback, which is very nice, and he takes it very positively instead of getting discouraged, and that's the unique quality of Aritra Prabhu. And he's extremely honest devotee, very sincere devotee. His sadhana is also really good, and he's very friendly personality, very jovial, and very helpful also at the same time. So we are very glad and fortunate to hear from His Grace Aritra Prabhu. So over to you, Prabhu, now.
I am feeling overwhelmed. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. I will take it. I will take all that you said. Okay, we'll take it to be true. Whether it is actually factual or not, still, I am still very, very indebted to you for um, always guiding me on this path of devotional service. And I sometimes do feel like, oh, why do I have to be corrected so much? But you know what? Like once I do it, I get that feeling of satisfaction of having accepted to whatever extent I can rectification from you. So I've always taken guidance from you, and I'm very, 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 very thankful to you. And I'm very, very thankful to all the devotees in our sangha because they are very sincere. By seeing them, their examples, um, um, I have been able to inspire my own self to try and be something like them. So yes, thank you to all the devotees in our sangha. Jai. Okay, so our topic today is Queen Kunti's prayers. And the reason why I picked this topic is because I often struggle to um, find words to express my prayers or to actually pray to the Lord. I sometimes don't know what to say. So I found Kunti Maharani's prayers to be very inspiring. And they are actually very inspiring to every devotee. The thing that I really like about these prayers is that um, Kunti Maharani covers like she covers practically everything that a devotee should be aspiring for, seeking for from the Lord, glorifying the Lord, then talking about describing his pastimes, his relationship with the devotees, which he very much relishes, and the most important thing, the underlying theme of her prayers is complete dependence on the Lord for protection, for protection in all respects, not just material. In fact, we'll see like how she's not even so much concerned about the material impediments. Actually, she begins to welcome them, but more importantly, protecting the remembrance of the Lord, which is losing which is a bigger peril in this world of relativity, in this world where it's very easy to get stuck, to flow along in the tide of the repeated birth and death. So that's those are the things which I find like really inspiring. So um, and interestingly also, like there is like found there is a very interesting contrast between, so there are not too many prayers in the Bhagavatam by devotees who are in apparently.
I think you muted yourself by mistake.
Okay, was I like muted all through or just by just a little bit? Are you able to hear me? Roji, are you able to hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay. Yeah, by mistake. Yeah, my computer went and hit the other computer went and hit the screen. Sorry. So, Queen Kunti, in her prayers, she is expressing the fear of the consequences of separation from the Lord. Whereas the gopis in the 10th canto, they are praying um, in separation. They are kind of relishing that sweet separation, the sweet pain that comes from separation from the Lord. So there's a little bit of a contrast there, which I found very interesting and I wanted to share. So her prayers reflect, Queen Kunti's prayers reflect some of uh, the, the qualities of a pure devotee. So she is obviously inspired by the Samvit Shakti of the Lord. And so she is able to glorify, like she is in full knowledge of the Lord's magnificence, his opulence, his pastimes, his form, his relationship with the devotees. So she is able to glorify all of these, and she recounts all of them in her prayers, which are about 26 verses, going from verse number chapter 8, first canto, chapter 8, verse number 18, all the way to 43. Um, the other thing is that she, in these prayers, she expresses, these prayers actually express the humility that is there latent in her heart, and we will see examples, glimpses of that all through. And again, the most important thing is her complete dependence on the Lord as the ultimate shelter for protection, not just material, not just physical, but also from spiritual protection, protection of the faith, protection of her conviction in the Lord being the only resort, the ultimate resort. So these prayers are being said by Kunti Maharani at the end of the battle of Kurukshetra, where after Maharaj Yudhishthir is installed on the throne, and the Lord has consoled him, um, as he was very agitated about all the destruction and all the lives that were lost in the war. He considers him responsible for it, and then he's about to leave for his abode in Dwarka, and that's when Uttara, his Uttara, Abhimanyu's wife, and Parikshit Maharaj's mother comes running to him, um, wanting protection from the fiery iron arrow, the Brahmastra weapon that Ashwatthama had launched to kill surviving, the last surviving progeny of the Pandavas, or the Kurus, as they say, Parikshit Maharaj, without whom, without whom the Bhagavatam would have not probably not had an appropriate hearer, listener. So the Lord, in one pastime, he just serves so many purposes. So after he protects Uttara's embryo by expanding through his personal energy in his Vishnu form, in his Narayan form, covers her womb with his personal energy, and then he's like, when everything looks all set, he's ready to leave. That is when Queen Kunti begins her prayers, begins offering her prayers, letting the Lord know her concerns of what can happen when she leaves. So she begins the prayers talking about. So first of all, I found one interesting thing that Queen Kunti here is referred as Sati. So the prayers begin saying that Sati or chaste woman, and that's not chaste in the sense of um, uh, chaste as being chaste to just material husband, but because of her unalloyed devotion to the supreme husband, Lord Shri Krishna. So, in very apt terms, the verse says addresses Queen Kunti as being Sati. So she begins with describing the Lord's position. I hope I'm still very audible here. The Lord's position, saying that He is the original personality who is unaffected by the material world. So, interestingly, here she says that the Lord is existing both within and without. So, He is the constituent of everything, but He is not those things. He is ultimately a person, but through His energy, He is sustaining everything. So she's aware. She's completely aware that Krishna is her nephew, only in a relative sense, only as part of this pastime, but he's actually not subordinate to her. So he's the supreme Purusha, the absolute truth. So she's here. What she's trying to teach us also through the presence that there is always a difference between the living entity and the Lord. The Lord is original and infallible. So he's the Purusha and Achyuta, but the living entity is otherwise. He's just the opposite. But nevertheless, both are eternal. But the Lord is the chief of those eternal. So there's a verse, Nitya Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. And what really covers the Lord from our view, from the view of people who are very materialistic, is quote unquote envy for the Lord. So the Lord is always reciprocating with us in the way we want. We want to, we want the Lord to reciprocate. So if we are envious or we are hateful of the Lord, we do not want to accept His supremacy, then the Lord lets us be that way, and He remains invisible or by His yogamaya potency. So, so his Maya potency actually covers the vision of the envious souls. And then she goes further ahead and says that, okay, um, so the Lord, He's beyond the range of limited sense perception. And He is also eternally reproachable. He is eternally irreproachable factor because no one really can see Him as the ultimate cause. That is why no one can really say that He is the one who is, causing turmoil in their life or disturbance in their life, or He's creating any kind of effect on the living entities. So it's only because of our ignorance, our lack of vision, lack of spiritual vision, that we think that everything is happening, like things are happening by their own selves, by their own. But it's like Prabhupada, in this verse, Vyasdev has said that Vyasdev is in describing Queen Kunti's prayers, says that so you are invisible to the foolish observer, exactly as an actor dressed as a player is not recognized. So the Lord is like the orchestrator. So the orchestrator sometimes may not be visible to the audience, but ultimately the symphony that is being played is because there is someone who is, you know, giving instructions, who is in the background. So who cannot see the Lord? They are called like people who are asuras. They cannot understand. They cannot understand the Lord. That's because of past misdeeds. And what actually happens? Why this results in this lack of vision is because the asuras are always trying to do things that will satisfy their lust, but ignoring completely that ultimately all activities are meant to satisfy the Lord's senses. So these misdeeds actually cover their vision because they want to be a competitor of the Lord rather than a cooperator with the Lord. So Krishna, but Krishna, however much people of this ascetic mentality may deny him, he is accepted as the supreme personality by authoritative sages um, like Vyasa, Devala, Asita Narada, Shankaracharya, also included, who says Narayana Para Sarve, Ramanujacharya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and our Gauriya Vaishnava line of Acharyas. So it is not really possible to know the supreme person by imperfect experimental knowledge, Prabhupada says. So just by using material means, it is not possible to perceive that which is transcendental or that which is trans-sensory, right? So the Lord is called Adhokshaja. So Adhokshaja means one who is not perceivable by any material means. But as in the Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma says that he is perceivable to one whose eyes are anointed with the pulp of love. The one who has love for the Lord, ye yathamam prapadyante, the Lord makes himself visible to such a person. So then Queen Kunti says that, okay, so what's your underlying purpose for appearing in this material realm, in this earthly realm? So she says that you descend to propagate the transcendental science of devotion service, and you do that, and you reveal them into the hearts, in the hearts of advanced transcendentalists, dhyanis, yogis, dhyanis, uh, basically yogis, or dhyana yogis. So the thing is that she here her humility is kind of shown that yes, Queen Kunti is a pure devotee of the Lord. She has intimate connection with the Lord, but she says that she kind of speaks for those in the body of women, saying that women are generally not as intellectually or like as speculative or intellectually speculative as men in apparent terms. So she is expressing her inability to know the Lord. She's saying, how can women know you perfectly when it seems like advancement, spiritual advancement is kind of the monopoly of only advanced transcendentalists, which is not true, but that's the humility. So she considers herself a poor, innocent woman without the ability to speculate. But Prabhupada writes a very, very interesting thing. He says, or something that like really drills home a point. He says the simplicity of acceptance of the Lord's authority is more effective than showing insincere religious fervor. So generally, women have the natural ability to surrender to authority, to spiritual authority, such as the Lord. And that is more endearing to the Lord than just trying to talk a lot about this philosophy, that philosophy, but never really coming to the point of surrender, which is what the Lord wants. So he's Bhavagrahi Janardhan. So there was this interesting purport that Prabhu Prabhu shared the other day. So I'll just say a little bit of it, not the entire one. So Krishna is thus the Lord, is known as Bhavagrahi Janardhan because he takes the essence of one's devotional mentality. So it's not that he's looking for, you know, mantras, Vedic hymns to be chanted, or someone who can perfectly chant syllables of mantras as being necessarily devoted, as necessarily being having love, affection for the Lord. Yeah, it could just be that they are doing that for their own purposes. It could be anything. So that doesn't please the Lord. But the inherent devotion in the Lord, devotion in the living entity is what the Lord is more attracted to. And then she says, okay, let me now offer obeisances unto the Lord, who has become the son of Vasudev, the pleasure of Devaki, the boy of Nanda, and the other cowherd men of Vrindavan, and the enlightener of the cows in the senses. So um, she, so Queen Kunti is very aware of the fact that the Lord does not like to be, um, uh, you know, considered or spoken of in isolation. He wants to be associated always with his devotees. So this verse is very interesting. It says these are actually one of my favorite lines here. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Nanda Gopa Kumaraya. She's connecting Krishna with being the son of Vasudeva, son of Devaki. the son of Nanda Gopa. So that's it's very interesting. So she's so a lot. So Krishna is known as Govindaya. So the last line is of course Govindaya Namo Namaha. That he's inclined to the brahmanas and the cows, which kind of indicates that um, taking care of nurture or nurturing these two sections of society, I will say, brahmanas and cows, is very essential for human prosperity. So cow protection is no wonder it is so much stress and it is so important. So wherever these are not taken care of, like where Brahmins are not respected, cows are not taken care of, Krishna never likes that kind of environment. So to please the Lord, if we do those things, He's very very happy. So then the further on, she begins to glorify a part of his form, like um, how his abdomen is marked with a depression like a lotus flower, and how how who are always decorated. So the Lord is decorated with garlands of lotus flower, and his vision or his look, his glance is also so pleasant, like just like lotuses, and his feet are also like lotuses. So the lotus is so akin, or the lotus is used to compare with like different. So the Lord's different parts are compared with the lotuses. Lotus is such a beautiful flower. So she begins to make that comparison, and here, while describing her form, she starts with with the abdomen of the Lord. Generally, etiquette-wise, we always start from when we go in front of the Lord. We begin by looking at the feet of the Lord, and then slowly making our way upwards. But because Queen Kunti is cognizant that the Lord may find it a little awkward, because apparently she is his aunt, so he may feel a little awkward. So the devotee is so cognizant. The devotee knows that they are subservient to the Lord, but the devotee is completely cognizant also to the fact that the Lord in a pastime, the Lord wants the devotee to look at him or treat him in a certain way, and that is given more priority over the need for the subservientness of the devotee. So she is very cognizant of that. So she talks about the abdomen and then goes to the feet. By the way, which is actually not very different from whether we look from the feet to the abdomen, because the Lord is absolute. His feet and his abdomen are essentially the same. But Queen Kunti still has that consideration, not to make him feel awkward. So, and then Srila Prabhupada says that he makes the point that hearing and chanting waters the seeds of devotional service, which develops one's original consciousness. So here in these prayers, Kunti Devi, who is a great devotee, is giving us the opportunity to become Krishna conscious simply by concentrating our mind on a lotus flower, which is comparable to the different parts of the transcendental body of the Lord. The lotus is the national flower of India. So I can see there is a very good reason why we, like the Indians, they naturally have an affinity for the Lord. So the universe includes many planets, seas, mountains, and cities with cars and other paraphernalia. But think about it, all of these, everything started from the stem of a lotus. That's exactly from where Brahmaji, the secondary engineer of the universe, came, and it all started from a lotus. So it says that the lotus is like the source of the entire universe. And what is that lotus? That's coming from the navel of Lord Vishnu, who is a plenary expansion of Lord Krishna. So and then Queen Kunti moves on to talk about, to describe the protection that one can get, that a devotee can get from um, the Lord. So in this verse 23, 118:23, it says, "O Rishikesh, master of the senses and Lord of Lords, you have released your mother Devaki, who was long imprisoned and distressed by the envious King Kamsa, and me and my children from a series of constant dangers." So Krishna protects the devotees who are totally helpless. Interestingly, Krishna protected the children of Kunti, Queen Kunti, and her, but it looked like he did not protect the children of Vasudev and Devaki. And there is a background to that. Um, but mm, but it's like um, Queen Kunti and the Pandavas, they were like completely dependent. They were completely dependent on the mercy of the Lord, and the Lord always reciprocated with them. So attachment to the Lord actually equates to the success of a devotee. So we all want to be successful in our endeavors. So we have so many endeavors. Our spiritual endeavor is um, should be the most important endeavor, and that is the endeavor which is going to bring permanent results. So, if we have to be successful in that endeavor, the only way to do is to be associated or to be devoted to the person who holds the key to it. So, attachment to the Lord is is proportional to the success that we have as devotees in advancing in spiritual life. And then the next few verses is very astounding, I would say, because it um, in these verses Queen Kunti expresses her desire for inconvenience, which we are all trying to avoid, and that is the most striking part of this of her prayers. So she says that she is wishing that all those calamities that they had to go through come again, come over and over again. And why? Because in those calamities, during those calamities, they were able to wholeheartedly, wholly and solely take shelter of Krishna, which is very difficult when which is very difficult for someone who is having a ball of a time in their lives, or is having sufficient material prosperity, lots of opportunity for sense gratification. It becomes very difficult for them. So that no wonder Queen Kunti is praying that those times were better than the times that are apparently here, when the kingdom has been regained, and it looks like they are finally in control again. So so why does Queen Kunti pray in essence? She's praying for calamities to avoid the calamity of repeated birth and death, which is the biggest calamity. So in this material world, there is danger at every step, and the soul which is beyond matter, begins to the soul, or that's us, like the living entities, the essence of us. We are beyond matter, but because we are conditioned, because psychologically thinking that we are a product of matter, we begin to suffer material miseries, just like in a dream, like in a bad dream. But a person but a person ideally should push forth to progress in spiritual realization, or in spiritual life, which is actually the real thing to do. So, contact with the Lord. So, the Prabhupada says that this progress in spiritual life is possible when one makes contact with the Lord. And how does that happen? By following one of the nine processes of devotion services. Service beginning with hearing and chanting about the Lord, hearing the glories of the Lord, and chanting His glories. That's the beginning, and then there are nine processes for going back to Godhead. So this verse here that Queen Kunti says that Um, may my Lord, may my Lord, your Lordship can be easily approached by whom? By only those who are materially exhausted. Um, for someone who is on the path of material progress, who is trying to improve their material condition, or who is very uh, so-called blessed to be of respectable parentage, having a lot of opulence, having great academic prowess, or physical beauty, it becomes very difficult for them to approach the Lord. And that is something that we see all over the world also. People who have these opulences, it, they tend to get very enraptured in their in these in the intoxication of these opulences, which I think is a story of many of us before we actually began to realize the pitfalls of this situation. So, Queen Kunti says that these are actually these opulences make one unfit for entrance into the kingdom of God. So that's why in the Shikshashtakam prayers, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he um, sings very humbly that na dhanam na janam na sundarim. So the attitude in which one should chant the holy name is one of humility, and without desiring all these so-called these so to speak distractions, is the only way by which one can actually completely relish the uh, holy name of the Lord and be able to chant it with the proper attitude of wanting to please the Lord and not just please our own selves. In so in the next verse, so I wanted to go like verse by verse because I just felt it was like every verse had so much to offer. So I'm just keeping a check on the time also. Let's see how we are doing. It's 10:40. Okay. So in this verse, Queen Kunti says, pays our obeisances to the Lord, saying that on one side there is disqualification or impediment to actually be able to surrender to the Lord, which is material opulence. But on the other side, the Lord is the property of becomes the property or becomes endearing to those who are materially impoverished. He says that the Lord has nothing to do with fruitive activities, action and reaction of the material modes of nature. He's beyond them. Um, he's self-satisfied, and therefore, because he's self-satisfied, he is also the master of the monists. Now, the Prabhupada explains that the essence of it. So it says, let. So I just kind of gave a topic to that. Let not the spirit of renunciation become the stimulus for self-obsession. So jivas are, as living entities, we really don't have anything to renounce. Because Prabhupada writes a very interesting thing that if living entities don't possess anything, they don't exist. Even if we have nothing, we still have something, which is our free will, right? So it's not that we are 100% renouncers, but what we can essentially do is renounce that tendency or the inclination or the propensity to try to enjoy selfishly or to try and enjoy independently, which Robert writes as the material disease. So we give up the propensity, a lower propensity to gain a better one, and which is the best policy for us to do as sadhakas, as aspiring seekers, spiritual seekers. So devotees generally are without material prosperity, as we often see, but there is something that they have which is of utmost value, which Prabhupada writes is a secret treasure house in the lotus feet of the Lord. And there are so many examples. Prabhupada gives example of Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, who were very influential, rich people, personalities in their time, but they gave up all that because they wanted to benefit from the association of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they wanted to um, actually attain the treasure house of the love of God, and share that with everyone else. So they gave up they gave up whatever material wealth they have, which was kind of an impediment for them. And also Srila Prabhupada's own example. He was rich. He was a very successful businessman, but then he, but in his heart, he always aspired to do something that is going to be beneficial for the entire world, on the order of his spiritual master. So he gave up his occupation. He gave up his profitable occupation so that he could dedicate himself to a higher cause, for the satisfaction of his guru and of the Lord. So here again, Prabhupada writes that all these, the material disease, the hankerings, is because of the interaction of the three modes of nature. Um, we think that we have something to gain, we have something to lose, is because of that material desire to gain something, because of the activities that we endeavors we perform to be able to earn something for our own gratification, and that way we get implicated in these modes and in karma. But the Lord is beyond that, and so are the devotees. The devotees and the Lord, they have no attachment for such false venues of enjoyment. Therefore, the Lord and the devotees, they are called Nivritta Gunavritti. And then finally, the thing about the monists. So the monists or the impersonalists, their ultimate objective is to merge in the effulgence, the Brahmajyoti of the Lord. But they don't see anything beyond it. They want to attain that ultimate state of self-satisfaction, samadhi, by merging into the Brahmajyoti. But devotees, they want to not merge, but they want to converge with the or at where the source of this Brahmajyoti is, the Lord, His transcendental abode, and be able to enjoy transcendental pastimes of the Lord, which are nothing material. So then Queen Kunti makes an interesting comparison, like almost like a metaphor. She compares the Lord to eternal time, and also the eternal time, and as the supreme controller that is without beginning and end. So as time, as we all can understand, we cannot really say that there is a beginning of time, because that's hard to explain. What is the beginning of time? And so is it true that there is no end of time? Time, kal, as they say in Bhagavad Gita, is eternal, always existing, and time affects everyone equally. So the Lord, in His Paramatma feature, is all pervasive and is present with each and every living entity. As they say, as they say that like time is the witness of all actions. We are all influenced by time, and everything that we do is being accounted for by time. But actually, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that what is time? He says that time is an impersonal manifestation of me. So there is no difference between Krishna and time. And here it says that the that who that the who is accounting for our good and bad activities. It is time. It's actually Paramatma, who can be likened to time, because Paramatma is eternal, and Paramatma, we can say, is all pervasive, so no beginning, no end. So he's always accounting for our deeds. And another thing, living beings, we have freedom to perform activities, to make choices. But um, but when we begin to misuse that freedom, that's when we actually become subjected to punishment. Oh, okay, punishment or reactions that come as a result of um, as a result of being in this in this system where there is good and bad reactions, where the system of karma is prevalent. So happiness and distress is not um, a result of of God being punishing us, or God wanting to give us some special means to be happy, but it's because of our own activities. It's because of the choices that we make, and the way we choose to act. So the Lord is actually no one's friend and no one's enemy. He says that in the Bhagavad Gita. Um, so that there are no dualities. He's impartial to everyone. But we all suffer and enjoy as a result of what they call destiny, which is actually our own, which is actually a function of our own activities. So the how is the Lord is impartially partial. So we sometimes hear that and that the Lord is partial to the devotees, but actually it is not completely true, because it's not that the Lord is partial to devotees, but it is like the sun. The sun. So Prabhupada uses this example. The sun is shining equally on everything, but there are some stones, he says, which can utilize the energy of the sun to become valuable gems. But on the other hand, there are people who are blind. They may not be able to gain anything out of the sun. Um, so what Prabhupada says is that whether the receptacles of the Lord's mercy differs. So some people may be very open. Some people may be very welcoming of the Lord's intervention in their lives, but there could be others who, even after hearing many instructions, are completely oblivious or do not want to accept the Lord and His mercy. They just might just always want to, have a reason to blame the Lord for their troubles. So one example is that um, uh, that the difference between Duryodhana and Arjuna. So one thing, when the Lord descends to this material world by His all merciful energy, it looks like he's just like a human being. He plays like a human being, and so it appears that okay, the Lord is apparently more favorable to his devotees like Yashoda, Mother Yashoda, or Nand Baba, because he took birth. Apparently, appeared in their at their in their home, but it looks like okay, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he was against he was against the Kauravas, so he was like inimical to them. But this is just like a relative vision. Duryodhana and Arjuna had an equal opportunity to be to accept the Lord and to accept His mercy, but Duryodhana was arrogant, so he chose the Lord's army over the Lord. But Arjuna, a devotee, uh, chose the Lord because he wanted to, because he knew that that was the best thing to do, and that was the way that he could actually, even do something, win the battle. And so both of them had equal opportunity. But we hear about Arjun as being the Lord's friend and Lord's devotee, and not Duryodhan. It's because of the choice that they made at that stage. So then Queen Kunti further says that it is very puzzling that you are the soul of the universe. You are that force because of which everything is moving, everything is acting. But it's strange that, like, still it seems that you're inactive, you don't work. It's still like, without you nothing can exist. So you take birth, though you are the vital force, and they say that you are unborn. You yourself descend amongst animals, men, sages, aquatics. That's bewildering. So essentially, what Queen Kunti is trying to say is that you're transcendental, but you're also transsensory, which is that you are the pervading super soul. Um, but from a material point of view, if someone is looking at your activities, it will seem very contradictory that you're speaking the Bhagavad Gita on the battlefield of Kurukshetra to Arjuna, but then at some point in time, you have incarnated as a boar. You've incarnated as half man, half lion incarnation, and then again in another pastime, you're appearing um, as a as baby Krishna, as a butter thief. So these are very contradicting. It's very difficult to understand. Whereas in Shastra, the Shruti mantra, there's a Shruti mantra which says that the Brahman, Supreme Brahman, has nothing to do. If you have nothing to do, why are there so many activities? Why are there so many contradictions in your activities? So she says that you are not someone who can be understood just by Vedic knowledge. You may be people may learn about you, but people will not realize you. People will not really understand you. So who can understand? It's only the pure devotees. Why? Because they have the inside scoop. They are intimately related with you. That is why you have revealed yourself to them. So she gives the example of, she kind of recollects the Damodar Leela pastime in the next verse, where Yashodama is binding Krishna with a rope. So it says that the Supreme Prabhupada says that the Supreme Lord accepts the service, the loving service of his devotees more relishably when that service is rendered spontaneously out of pure affection, without anything of reverential admiration. So that is like the highest kind of pleasure that one can give to the Lord, or one that the Lord enjoys, is when the devotees don't have are not in awe and reverence of him, or rather they want to maybe like chastise him. They may want to admiration, and which is the mood in Goloka Vrindavan. And so the Lord accepts the chastisements of the parents more cheerfully than the prayers of the Vedic kings. That's interesting. And then the next few verses, 32 to 35, Queen Kunti is talking about the reasons for which the Lord actually appears on this earth. So she says that um, uh, the Shastras say, and the learned transcendentalists, they say that you are unborn, and that you're born for the glorification of the pious kings. And the Lord Himself says that He comes to deliver the pious and annihilate the miscreants. Says that she says that others say that you're born to please King Yadu. So there are different opinions, um, but essentially, what she's saying is that the Lord appears by His own will, but He's never forced to do so. Why unborn? Why unborn? Says that because the very context of birth and death that we know is a result of being um, being entrapped in the karmic cycle. But you are beyond that, so it does not really even apply to you. But there are, but that's not like the only reason that that you're coming just to glorify pious kings. There, people say that there are other opinions as well, and one of them is that you come to please your devotees like Vasudev, Devaki, who were Sutapa and Krishna in a previous birth, and they performed a very severe type of penance to have the Lord as their son. So he comes to appease them. um, Undoubtedly, she says, you are born unborn, yet you take birth for their welfare and to kill those who are envious of the demigods. So that's like another reason, which also in the Bhagavatam is mentioned that who is Krishna and why does he come? Says Krishna is Ete Chamsha Kala Pumsha. Krishna is to Bhagavan Swaram. So the Lord Krishna is the Supreme Lord, and Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Hridayanti Yuga Yuga. All the enemies of Indra are the enemies of the demigods. He comes to annihilate them, yuga yuga, yuga after yuga. So that's like another reason that people put forward. And then yet others say that that the Lord appears to relieve the burden of demoniac people on this earth. And we know that story where Mother Bhumi goes to Lord Brahma and expresses her despair over all those demoniac kings who are burden on who are like exploiting the resources and um, creating a lot of imbalance on this earth. And then Lord Brahma, who's the secondary creator, he goes to Lord Vishnu on the banks of the Shirodak ocean and prays to the Lord to appear. And that's when the Lord actually promises to appear on this earth. So some people say that, okay, so that's also bona fide reason why the Lord appears. And then there are others who say that the Lord appears for what? For rejuvenating the devotional service of hearing, remembering, worshipping, and so on, in order that the conditioned soul suffering from material pangs might take advantage and gain liberation. So this kind of ties to what the Lord says, that when there is dharma glani, so he says yada yada dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. So he comes to establish the process of religion or dharma. um, so how does that happen? So the process of dharma is what is natural for the living entity, which is to serve the Lord by through glorification, through remembering. So the Lord comes. So that's the way of religion. Prabhupada writes. No one can really manufacture a new path of religion. So the way of religion is to be able to perform glorification of the Lord. So unfortunately, what happens over a period of time, living entities become forgetful because of ignorance, because of contact with the material modes. They become forgetful of their natural function. So the Lord comes to remind the living entities of that. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who appears once in the day of Brahma, he comes directly to do that. He does not talk about surrendering to him completely, but he comes and comes to propagate the chanting of the holy names of the Lord, and in that way, performing the dharma of the age, and also reviving the spiritual consciousness, the subverted spiritual consciousness of the living entity. Okay, so in any case, the Lord is beyond any obligation. He's abhigya swarar, as Bhagavatam says. He's completely independent and free to do anything he wants. He's not um, he's not forced to come to the Lord or to this earthly realm to do any of these things for any of these reasons. So Queen Kunti says that what is the benefit? What benefit accrues to someone who is continuously hearing, chanting, and remembering or talking about the transcendental activities of your lordship? She says that by doing so, by taking pleasure in these activities, they certainly see your lotus feet. Again, the lotus comes back here, lotus feet of the Lord. Um, by seeing the lotus feet, what happens? That alone can stop the repetition of birth and death, which are the real problems. So I give this a little topic. Krishna consciousness is the path to liberation, but one also needs to get it from a bona fide source. So that is something that Prabhupada highlights, emphasizes on in this in his purport. He says that we are materially afflicted, and hence we have a cataract which blocks our vision from seeing the Lord. And as Brahma Samhita says, Premanjana Charita, Bhakti Vilochanena. So by that salve of pure love for the Lord, we can we can be able to see the Lord as He is. But there is another impediment, which is envious people or people who are angry with the Lord for any reason, or people who are antagonistic to the Lord. They perceive him as a material impediment, and they try to also inspire others to kind of develop similar feelings. But the necessary qualification to have spontaneous love for the Lord is that one be able to develop love for the Lord, as they say. So devotional service or Krishna consciousness can get us there. And where does it begin? It begins with first knowing what is our relationship, who we are, what is our relationship with the Lord. So Shravanam, that is so important. We hear about the Lord, hear about our relationship with the Lord. But again, the problem is that there are lots of, for hearing, there is a lot of audience, but not sufficiently qualified representatives like Shukadev Goswami. So each of the Lord's activities have the potential to revive original consciousness of pure love, but the hearing has to be perfect. So we need to find representatives of Shukadev Goswami who will present the Lord as he is without any material tinge. So the Lord's so one example he gives is that the Lord's dealings with his devotees is always absolute. Whether we are talking about the dealings with Pandavas at different points in their life, whether it was on the battlefield of Kurukshetra or saving them from the wrath of Durvasa Muni, or we talk about the Rasa Leela with the gopis. The engagement apparently may be different, but they are all on the absolute platform, and it is only an expression. It's only an expression in different ways of the love that the devotees have for the Lord and vice versa. But someone who is materially minded will not be able to make adjustments, and hence to adjust their tendencies to fan lustful inclinations by hearing of the conjugal pastimes, one has to hear from perfect sources, so that these that it helps clear the misconceptions that one may have about these pastimes. So, scriptures essentially, scriptures, bona fide scriptures, revealed scriptures help us revive us of this eternal spiritual, not eternal, the spiritual amnesia that we are suffering, and reminding us of our lost relationship with the Lord. And then Queen Kunti says, okay, so having described all this, glorifying the Lord, remembering his pastimes formed, who can know him, what is the qualification, disqualification. She again remembers that, oh, but the Lord is leaving. You're leaving us. And you are leaving us, she says, at a time when we are like the kings that we have defeated, who have been defeated, they are our enemies. So she's again indicating that um, independent living, so-called independent living, is far more dangerous than dependent anticipation of Krishna's protection in the face of apparent peril. So whatever perils they have gone through, she does not really think that they were really perils. She was actually, it seems like she was, um, if not happy, she was quite satisfied that those things kept coming. So Srimati Kunti Devi, she's kind of expressing that this separation is like a thunderbolt for her, and her entire prayer is actually to persuade the Lord to somehow stay, with sweet words. So the Pandavas, they were very fortunate because all through they were entirely able to be dependent on the Lord, on the mercy of the Lord, which is very difficult for us. Um, we kind of get tested when we are put into difficulty suddenly, and we begin to kind of sometimes even curse. So the Prabhupada says that this material disease of wanting to be independent, material disease, our material disease is because of our thinking of wanting or willing to be, independent of everything, of the Lord. So whatever material manipulation that we may do to allay our troublesome situations, circumstances, they are feebly wishful thinking, which in the course of time will break apart. So Prabhupada says that, again, quote, the highest achievement of perfect civilization is to work with valor, but at the same time, depend completely on the Lord. And Pandavas exemplified that along with their mother, Queen Kunti. They were completely dependent on the will of the Lord. Um, okay. And then Queen Kunti remembers and reminds the Lord that she addresses him as Gadadhar, so one who's holding the club. So one of his embellishments, holding the club. She reminds him of all those lotus imprints that he has left all over the kingdom. So she kind of uh, is lamenting that those will no longer be there when the Lord leaves. Basically, what she's trying to express is that ill luck is probably hiding, lurking somewhere, and will show up once the Lord leaves. Because they say that the Lord's feet are very auspicious. The lotus feet are very auspicious. and when they are not there, that could sign that could be the beginning of some serious calamities coming back. And the biggest calamity is forgetting the Lord. Okay, and then the last three verses, Queen Kunti is basically talking about um, that again, like she's expressing that how that she's apparently attached to the to her sons, to the Pandavas, and on to the Kauravas, and also she also has some affection for the Vrishnis. So she's praying to the Lord that may this not be an impediment. So she knows that ultimately what the Lord wants is the best thing. So she should not try to impede his desires or what he wants. But at the same time, she feels that if he leaves, the Pandavas, the Kauravas will be pained. But on the other side, if the Yadus or Prishnis, the Yadus don't get his association, they will be um, sad, or they will be unhappy. So she just kind of wants to be free from this um, relative notion of ties between the Pandavas and the Vrishnis. So she prays that she's able to overcome this affection, and that her thoughts, her consciousness slowly flows towards the Lord, and is not impeded by these apparent relationship ties. So that's what, and that's where she closes. Uh, there was some more thing I wanted to say. So she says that okay, whatever be the case, like in the last verse, which is the 43rd verse, he says that you are the person who has actually destroyed all our political rivals, our enemies, who were disturbing elements on this earth, and you are still unchanged. It has not kind of de-energized you, or in any ways not drained you in any ways. You're the proprietor of the transcendental abode, and you always descend to to relieve the distress of the cows and the brahmanas. So I still offer my obeisances unto you. And she just closes off the prayer over there. So I think, and then the Lord, and Sri Goswami says that the Lord is so pleased by all these words and all these prayers. He smiles, but then he still wants to, go ahead and go back to his kingdom. And then then there's Yudhishthira Maharaj's concern also comes in. So I think that's how I wanted to summarize Queen Kunti's prayers. I felt that they were very beautiful, very inspiring. And now I will let you question, put forth any questions or like corrections, or share your realization. I'm sure all of you will have a lot to say.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Aritra Prabhu, for all that hard work, and it was very nice. Um, so I just have one particular question for you, and maybe probably comment. I don't know, but I have to also leave in another 5 minutes. I think I had also messaged because I have a call to attend now. Um, yeah, so I wanted to ask you that see, generally at the end, there's a very popular and important verse from Prayers of Kunti, where she's saying that as the name and fame of particular body is finished, with the disappearance of living spirit, similarly, if you do not look upon us, sorry, this verse number 41, where she's saying that, oh Lord of universe, O personality of form of universe, please therefore sever my tie of affection for my kinsmen, the Pandavas and the Vishnus. So the question is that we keep hearing that if you have relationship with devotees, then and Pandavas and Vishnus, they are all devotees actually of the Supreme Lord. So why she's asking to sever the bonds of affection between them?
So my understanding is uh, that these relationships that Queen Kunti has with both families, both parties. These relationships are also relative. They are she's bound by some obligations for towards both. So as I said that she that if Krishna goes away, the Kauravas they will feel her they will feel his absence. But at the same time, like he needs to be there on the he needs to go back to his family or to the Prishnis. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Yeah, to the Yadus. So she basically wants that whatever the Lord desires, that take precedence. So because of her ties towards either families, she has this feeling that okay, you stay with us, because we'll be in trouble, we need your association, or like that relative kind of desire that she has, or relative kind of um, what will I say, like she wants Krishna to be on their side also, but she knows that he needs to be on the other side. So basically, she wants to overcome that uh, desire or that inclination to want to hold the Lord for, for relative reasons, for either her side or for the Prishnis. She just wants to be completely dedicated to doing whatever the or doing and following whatever the Lord likes, to let his desires be to take precedence over everything else. So that's like one thing that I can think of. That's one reason I can think of. And yeah. So the other thing is, as I was speaking, that she's feeling that having material ties is not letting her completely surrender herself. So Prabhupada writes in the purport that a pure devotee cuts off the limited ties of affection for his family and widens his activities of devotional service for all forgotten souls. Okay, so that she is able to also reach out to other living entities, um, so that they can take advantage of the association of the Lord, the service of the Lord. So yeah, I don't know. That's what I am thinking, but maybe you can elaborate on that.
Yeah, okay. It was good one. What I've heard is from the devotees is that basically what she is asking to severe is the tinge of material desires that are remaining, the tinge of material bondage that is remaining between Kunti and Pandavas. Because when we take birth in the material world, we are also attached to the family members in the material context, not just spiritual context. So basically, what she is asking, generally, see, whenever we take association of devotees, we want to increase that association. We want to relish that association. So obviously, it's quite strange why she is saying that she wants to sever the affection between herself and the Pandavas. So the acharyas they explain like this. I mean, this is what I've heard from senior devotees that whatever because when you come to the material world, you also have some kind of material tendencies. So those material tendencies she's asking to get rid of. Complete material destruction of bondage, and only spiritual affection. So whatever affection we have in spiritual life, it is, and whatever bonding we have with devotees, it should be based on spiritual understanding. Spiritual bonding has to be there. But any tinge of material desire or affection should be severed like that. This is what I've heard.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, yes. Thank you, bro.
Okay. So I have to leave now. But what we will do is I will allow other devotees to question you, or if they have any comments, they can share. And I will make Swati Mataji the host. So she can disconnect the Zoom session, as well as she can also disconnect the Facebook Live and the recording when you guys are over. So any first of all, any devotees they have any question or comments for Aritra?
One small query. Ezra Prabhu mentioned in the start.
Okay, okay, one second. So this question is for Aritra, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, so let me do one thing. Swati Mataji, are you there?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Okay, I'm making you the host, and you take it over now. And when the session is over, then you stop the recording and the Facebook Live, and you can end the session. And I will definitely hear the recording later on. But thank you
Sure,
so much,
Prabhuji.
Arita Prabhu. It was very nice. And we want to have more sessions from all the devotees again. So next time we'll be looking forward to attend Rajiv Prabhu's presentation, probably next month. Okay.
Can
Swati
I?
Mataji, you are the host now.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Rajiv Prabhu, you had a question, right?
Yes. So, Aritra Prabhuji, you mentioned at the start that Kunti Maharani, she was aware of Krishna being the supreme personality of Godhead, and you also mentioned supreme husband.
Oh,
So, is that right?
yeah. Actually,
So I mean,
mhm.
yeah. Could she have aspired for conjugal rasa? You mean to say with the Lord?
Okay, okay. Thank you for asking that question, Roji. So, her rasa with the Lord is in the Vatsalya ras, Gaurav Vatsalya. So
Yeah.
it's not exactly that she would want him as a husband, but actually what I was trying to do is, I was kind of contrasting the mood of the gopis with the mood of Kunti Maharani. So in that context, I said that. So I was saying that yes, the like Queen Kunti knows that the Lord is the supreme personality of Godhead, and we say Sati. So the context is for the word Sati, right? So Sati is generally, as we use it in our parlance, used for describing the character of a woman who is very devoted to her husband, who is very chaste and faithful to her husband, right? So in that way, Queen Kunti is also called as Sati in this verse. Vyasdev writes as Sati. The reason is that Queen Kunti has complete, like, unalloyed devotion for the Lord. So I mentioned that the Lord is the supreme husband, in the sense that the Lord is the supreme enjoyer, and we all are meant to be enjoyed by the Lord. So in that context, I meant, as the supreme husband or the supreme enjoyer. So Queen Kunti knew that, and she knew that whatever, if you in her prayers also, she expresses that ultimately whatever the Lord does is for the best interest of the living entity. So, and is always something that the living entity should accept, because the Lord cannot do anything that is going to be not in favor of them. So in that ways, she has no doubt, she has no desire to enjoy outside of what the Lord ordains for her, in that way. So someone who is unchaste will want to look for enjoyment outside their relationship, right? But in this case, Queen Kunti, she is so completely devoted to the Lord that she knows that there is no enjoyment outside. My only source of enjoyment, relishing a relationship, is with the Lord. So in that way, I meant like the supreme husband, but not in a conjugal way, not in that bhav of conjugal relationship.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for asking that question, that clarifying question.
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Very wonderful class, Prabhuji. Good preparation and very inspiring for us, though. So I don't think we will be able to.
We are looking forward to your class.
That's what I was about to say. That somehow I'll have to wriggle out of that. I don't know if I have that kind of preparation possible at the moment, but definitely very inspiring. And hopefully, I will also reach that position where I can give some sort of I won't say class. Maybe we can have a discussion kind of thing,
Probably
where
whatever you do,
where you will allow me to speak a little more than others. That's all.
very nice. I know it. I know for sure. In fact, I was saying that I'm inspired by all the sincerity that all of you have. I mean, I have seen you, bro. I saw you in in during our uh, Barsana I camp and in Vrindavan.
That is Prabhuji. That comes out of attraction for sincere devotees like you. So when sincere devotees like you are around, that automatically brings out the
Okay,
feeling for association that way.
okay, yeah. So yeah, I'll just ask once again. Swati Mataji, Mataji had a question.
Yeah. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Very nice, wonderful uh, class. You explained very nicely all the different verses of the prayers, these prayers. And in the beginning, you also mentioned about how the Lord comes to not only fulfill and to fulfill many purposes at one time. So that was very nice. So can you just elaborate a little bit more about that?
Yeah, in the beginning that I was saying. So I
Parikshit Maharaj, yeah.
Parikshit Maharaj. So I
Save
was this kind of struck me yesterday when I was reading the verses previous to her prayers. So how Uttara, Mother Uttara comes running to Krishna to for seeking protection. So Queen Kunti is one thing. Queen Kunti is seeing that like Krishna has protected them over and over again. Okay, but I was thinking from the first point of view of the Lord. The Lord has like he's. They say that like as I mentioned that one action and serve multiple purposes. So he kind of must have handpicked Parikshit Maharaj for being that hearer, for being the sincere hearer of Srimad Bhagavatam, right? So like that, so that is one thing. So the Lord obviously knows everything that is happening and that's going to come. So he knew that he had to save this last progeny so that the world would receive a ruler that was completely that was going to uphold the banner of dharma, to the banner of dharma that is coming from the Lord, and also that eventually he would be the same person who would fall into a little bit of an illusion, and then he would be the recipient of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, which would sustain that flag of dharma for the time to come, like the way we are reading Bhagavatam today. So that was the thing that was going that kind of came into my head yesterday when I was reading that part, like of the Lord saving Parikshit Maharaj. And then so that's why I said that there are so many purposes that the Lord is serving. The Lord of course knows that he has to speak to Bhishma Dev. So the Lord is orchestrating even this situation where Kunti Maharani will pray, because Kunti Maharani, whatever she prays to the Lord, and that kind of shows her heart, devotional heart, but then also the it kind of sets up a stage for the Lord to stay back. So I'm just thinking like so many things. If you just see like all the sequence of activities that will happen in the future also, the Lord is just orchestrating the whole thing so that he can speak to Bhishma Dev, and Bhishma Dev can give instructions to Yudhishthir Maharaj, because Yudhishthir Maharaj is so pained at that moment. Also, he was inconsolable. He because he thought he was responsible for all the bloodshed that happened. So if you think about that, it is so mind-boggling that how many things the Lord is achieving with one, like just apparently one pastime. So yeah, that was my thought.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Yes. Uh, yeah, even, the Lord wanted even Bhishma Dev to speak to Yudhishthir, so that was also very nice.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah.
Yes. And
Thank
I had forgotten the order. So in the morning when I was seeing, I saw, oh, okay, Bhishma Dev's conversation with the Lord comes right after this.
Yes, it comes right
Following
after.
chapter.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you for staying, participating so much, and staying all through. Give me encouragement also. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Aritra Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
Yeah.
Hare
So
Krishna.
please take care of the recording and stopping and all.
Yes, I'll stop the live, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Dandavat
Hare
pranam.
Krishna, Dhanvat Pranam.
Jai
Hari
Shri
Bol.
Prabhupada.
Jai Shri
Onwards. Jai Shri Prabhupada.